Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio by Bryan Leonard. Ken Thompson out sick this week. I don't know, probably was celebrating that 34-point win he had with his 3-star on Monday. I haven't seen him in 2 days.
I had the same play, and I was able to make it in here. Maybe he's out partying with the VR. VR hasn't been done videos in 2 months.
Well, possibly. All right, we'll put out an APB on Ken. I'm sure we'll have him back in studio next week. We're going to break down Brooklyn versus Atlanta. Now, this is actually a home game for Atlanta, but it's not really a home game for Atlanta. It's they're playing this one in London. Why?
I guess the NBA does this every season. They tried it last year with San Antonio playing down in Mexico, and they had some technical difficulties.
I can understand that a little bit better. You know, play San Antonio, Mexico, but London? Come on.
The worst part about it, if you're one of the players, is it's in the middle of the season.
Right.
I could see it. Baseball, we've seen this play in Japan or whatever, playing a different country at the beginning of the season.
Football gives you the bye week.
Makes
afterwards.
sense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Basketball, I'm not so sure, but they've been doing it for a few years now.
All right. Now, this is actually a quick rematch. These two teams just played January 6th in Brooklyn. Brooklyn won the game as a 1-point favorite, 91-86. Now, Bryan, Brooklyn this year, they've underachieved. Well, let's be honest about it. Now, do you want to look at it? There's two ways to view it. And we talk so many times whenever you have some free agent signings that, in the offseason, it takes time for the chemistry and the team to gel. But two of the big free agent signings played with one another, so there should have been some chemistry there already. But from their days in Boston, and we're talking about Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, a lot of times Boston during the regular season seemed, when they were in Boston, they would go at half speed. Doc Rivers, he knew he had a veteran team, an older team. They knew they weren't going to, catch Miami for the top seed or the second seed. And it seemed like to me a lot of times that they just went through the motion sometimes just to get through the regular season, make sure you got enough wins to get into the playoffs, and then you turn it on then and see how far you can ride the horses. Yeah,
we've seen that this year out of the Miami Heat. In years past, San Antonio has done that to have a lot of success. Brooklyn's won 5 of their last 6 games, and take a look at some of the teams they've beaten. Oklahoma City, Golden State, Miami, and as you pointed out, these Atlanta Hawks. So they are playing really well right now. And a lot of people think it's a buy sign. Like you said, it takes time for players to get together and start to learn how to play with each other. But I'm not so sure. I mean, they lost last time out. They played Toronto. Now they're playing an Atlanta team. As you pointed out, they were able to win before. I don't know if I want to buy on this team, because if you've watched New Jersey play this year, it seems to be a situation where they've got so many star players. It's like a clear-out type of thing. One guy takes the ball, does whatever he wants to play. The assists on this team are very low, and they have good guard play on this team, and they're not piling up the assists. And that's one of the things I always like to look at, is how many of the baskets are being made by assists, or how many are isolation plays, the old Charles Barkley type of things.
Well, one thing that you said when you were running that list off of the teams that they beat, the first thing that comes into my head that pops is that we talked about, was it a case of the team taking time to gel or taking days off, so to speak? Do they come to play when they play somebody good? Would they get up for the competition level? And, you rattled off some very good teams there. So that's also a possibility. Now the fact that you already just beat Atlanta, if we're going to subscribe to that theory, and I'm not saying we are, but if we are, the fact that they just beat Atlanta and now they're going all the way over to London to play this game, do you worry about focus and effort out of a team like this?
Yeah, you have to worry about the focus for both teams, because this is a rare opportunity to play in a foreign country. And I've never been to London. It's one of the places I've always wanted to go. Unfortunately, I'm not an athlete. I can't play in the NBA and go to London, but someday maybe. But yeah, it's a situation. And two of the things I like to look at both come into play here. Number one is quick revenge. As you pointed out, just played 10 days ago, and I happen to think Atlanta's the better team. But you also have a situation where you had a winning streak that was just broke. They won 5 straight games against very good competition, and last time out they lost to Toronto.
They lost very bad. They got beat by 16, I believe, to Toronto.
Toronto, right.
One other point on Atlanta, they've won 2 of their last 3 games. They had won 2 in a row, and then they got beaten their last game at Memphis. You know I'm a situational guy. That Memphis loss, you can write that one off. You can give them an excuse, a pass if you want, because they were coming off. They beat Indiana, who's playing very, very good basketball this season, and Houston, 2 of the upper-tier teams in the NBA, and they were both at home, both as underdog roles, outright wins. Then they go on the road to Memphis with this on the horizon after that. If you want to talk about a sandwich spot, really the Memphis game was.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, but seeing that you are a situational player, couldn't that be said the same thing out of New Jersey? 5 wins over top-tiered teams, playing Toronto last game before going out of town.
I hate when you say something.
You can't bet against both these teams, Marco.
Well,
actually,
you know what you can,
depending on the line.
You can pass.
You can pass. You can pass.
And probably that's where I'll be in this one. But you have a play. Let's make it official.
All right. All right, I'm going to take the Atlanta Hawks here in a quick revenge matchup, playing in the O2 Arena in London. You know, I'm not a big believer in the Nets right now. You know, Nets are 15-22 on the season, and they've dropped 5 of their last 6 on the road. Now, obviously, this isn't a true road game, but it is away from home. The Hawks looking for that quick revenge, as Marco pointed out, just 10 days ago, 91-86. I talked about the guard play on these teams. Atlanta has the better ball movement. They're averaging 25.4 assists a game. I have concerns about the Nets. There are too many individual players on that team. Now, the Hawks always run into a situation where they don't really rebound well, but neither do the Nets. So I don't think that's going to be much of a differential. And as Marco pointed out, you know, Atlanta's dropped 4 of the last 6 games, so you know they're not going to take this game lightly. Even though you always have to question each team's motivation and when they do play one of these one-off games. But I think Atlanta, after losing 10 days ago to a team they know they probably should have beaten or could have beaten, I'm going to play Atlanta here. And the number's very, very nice. That number's better than what I thought it was going to be. So we'll play with the Hawks right here.
All right, well, there you go. Brian says take Atlanta Thursday night in London. Cheerio. We'll go with the Atlanta Hawks. And we're going to be back. We're going to take a look at a college basketball game for Saturday. Game team we know all about right here in Vegas. UNLV travels to play San Diego State. We'll do that one next here at pregame.tv.